I thank the gentlelady. Now recognize my friend from the state of Florida, Mr. Soto, for his 5 minutes of questioning.
Thank you, Chairman, and thank you to all the families for coming today. Sexual exploitation, bullying online, is a horrific threat to our families across the nation. Democrats, we support COSA. We voted for it already last term. We also support the Take It Down Act. And we stand with the families here today and the excruciating stories that you've had to tell us. The reason why we're so furious is because President Trump just illegally fired 2 of the 5 Federal Trade Commission commissioners. They're here today, both Ms. Slaughter and Mr. Bedoya. The FTC is already charged with protecting kids online. And so when these folks are fired, it's just outrageous to see no one say anything about it. We're talking about standing with these families, and then none of you will stand up to President Trump when he just dismantled the very commission that's charged with doing this stuff. When COSA is passed, when Take It Down is passed, it'll be the FTC that'll be enforcing it. That's why we're so frustrated today, because the commission is now paralyzed. Our Republican colleagues say nothing because they're scared of the president. So they express sympathy, but do nothing about restoring the commission. The second concern is we passed COSA last term, and it never made it to the House floor. It was killed by Speaker Johnson, and then the Internet Privacy Bill, we even had a hearing set for it to vote it out of the committee, and that hearing was pulled back in front of the entire Capitol. What an embarrassment, because the powers that be didn't want this bill to pass. Internet privacy should have passed. It passed when we had the House, and we need the Speaker, we need the Chairman and others to stand with us on this. Sympathy is not enough. Hearing all your stories is not enough. And then when we see tech billionaires having better seats than Republican governors at Trump's inaugural, that does not inspire confidence. So we've brought you here to hear your stories, and we appreciate it. My biggest fear is that nothing is going to happen again, and that would be an absolute travesty. These families deserve to be heard and not used for hearing their stories, sound sympathetic, have a listening ear, and then nothing happens. Commissioner Slaughter, it's really important that we address all the families that are here today. The FTC is already charged with whatever laws are already on the books to help protect children online, and so it would be great to kind of explain what the work that you all were doing right before you were fired.
Sure, thank you. I agree with you about the importance of thinking about the families that are here today and the people that they're representing. It is such a critical issue. It moves me so deeply as a human, as a parent, and as a federal trade commissioner. And I share the view of the parents on this panel and in this room that parents can do their absolute best. I try to do my absolute best for my children. And like some of my fellow panelists, I'm pretty expert in this stuff, and it is still really hard for me. So what we need is for the government to empower government agencies to make sure that the onus is on the companies to keep children safe in the first instant. And in order to do that well, we need the government agencies to not be afraid of those companies.
And when we pass COSA and you are reinstated as a commissioner after we win in court, what can you then do to help enforce these laws to protect these families?
Well, I can do the kinds of things I've been doing for the last 7 years as an FTC commissioner, which is taking on the biggest companies in the world without fear or favor, based on the facts and based on the law. I voted to bring lawsuits against Meta, involving privacy practices, including involving kids. I voted for a settlement with Amazon over Alexa's collection of children's voice data that was illegal. I worked with my colleague, Commissioner Wilson, a Republican, and my former colleague, Commissioner Chopra, a Democrat, to set up a study on social media and video streaming services privacy practices to provide transparency to the public, to this committee, to Congress, about all of the data that is collected by these companies and how it is used. And that study was finally published this fall. We brought cases I mentioned against Epic involving communication with children and tricking children into payments. I referenced in my testimony a case we brought just last fall against Genshin Impact for loot boxes that trick kids and get them hooked into gambling with their parents' money online.
Thank you for the extensive things you're doing. Members, these families don't need our sympathies. They've come here today for action, and I plan to vote to support these bills.